So Kieran Arash, Arish Aaron Tolog and Virtue Ogden and Shaw. Back here again, Kieran, for Agranado, edition number 2 of Print the Legend. And today we're getting to speak to another female playwright, Fionnuala Kennedy. So I'm excited, and tell the viewers what's different about this one.
Fionnuala Kennedy doesn't speak any Irish, so this one will be in English for the listeners. But yeah, we are excited about it, aren't we, as well?
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled, because I just had the privilege of seeing her newest play, Project Children, in the Lyric Cup just 2 weeks ago. Absolutely stunning piece of work, and I know she has an incredible story. She's a writer from right here in West Belfast, living around the corner in Clonard. So I'm thrilled to have a local artist in here talking to us who's super talented and, you know, at the top of her game. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, and we hope you enjoy it too.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Hello, Fáilteóra Chorja agus Táid a Caintiniu le Fionnuala Kennedy. Hiya, Fionnuala. Brilliant, and thanks a million for coming in. And brilliant to see you. And to, first of all, congratulate you on the massive success of Project Children. I saw it in the Lyric, where, of course, it was revived, because you originally produced for Féile and Fubble. Yeah, in August
2023.
and then revived for the Lyric. So, as a piece of work going into Project Children, and having seen the show, and I read the programme note as well, so I know your sister was a participant, and her family brought her back 4 or 5 years?
6 years, so she went back, yeah.
Wow. And does she still, Facebook friends with them, or?
Oh, God, yeah. Like, they came over to see the show last year in the Féile.
You're joking?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Mel had sent them, there was a wee article in the Irish News, and I had mentioned them, and Mel WhatsApped it to them, and then they booked flights and came over. And Mel was like, fuck, I need to paint the house and get everything ready for them coming over.
Exactly, never mind hoover the carpet. They're actually going to paint the house. The Americans are coming.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Which was amazing. It was so lovely. And it was the first time, it wasn't the first time we'd met them. We met them years ago when I was a kid. But it was the first time my mummy properly got to meet Mel's American mummy, Kathy.
Wow.
And it was so nerve-wracking them watching the show as well, because obviously there's a bit in it that's inspired by Mel's experience with them as well.
Okay. What bit is that, I was going to ask?
It's Claire's monologue, which is kind of a mix. They're all inspired by everybody that I interviewed. There's certain monologues that would be more based on certain people. So hers was a bit of a mix. And they could kind of see, I think they could tell which one it was.
It must have been really emotional.
It was. They were crying after, and we got photographs on the set and stuff. It was amazing.
Well, I know, I have to say, like, it's an amazing piece of work, because you're telling a story that started in 1975 and went on, actually, until into the 2000s. 2015. Yeah, in a slightly different format, I think, as it went on. But I mean, that's a huge thing to take on. I thought the way you structured it and the humanity in it. And I was going to ask, you were approached by Brass Neck, or how did that sort of idea of telling that story of Project Children come about?
I had always wanted to work with Brass Neck. I feel like I am part of Brass Neck. I was on their board years ago, and I was involved in Brass Neck Youth and stuff as well. And I always wanted to do a play with them, but I knew it had to be the right play. So, like, literally 5 years before, I was going, what could it be? And then I happened to be directing another play a couple of years before, what would it have been, 2021. And 2 of the actors had gone out to America. And for some reason, I was like, oh, yeah. And I was telling them Armel went out. And then I went, that's the one to pitch to Brass Neck. So I emailed Tony and I was like, we have to do this. And he came straight back and he was like, yes, love it. So I knew it was the right project for Brass Neck. And then he went ahead and got the funding to commission the play. And then I was like, fuck, how am I going to tell this story over 40 years? In my head, I was like, this will be really easy. And then when you sit down and you're like, I don't know how to start this. So I just kind of started with interviews. And
was it easy to find those people? Like, I mean, in a research sense, where do you start finding
I started with Mel. I was like, I can ask all the daft questions, and kind of try and get an idea of what. It's weird when you do interviews with any project, you'll find, or with people who've been through a similar experience, you'll find they're different. They're the same markers each time. So of how it came about, how they felt before they were leaving, what they were leaving behind, what it was like when they arrived, what they did there, and then the getting ready to go back home, and then how it felt going back home. So I kind of, once I got the structure of the interview with Mel, it made it easier to interview other people.
I mean, I loved the details of the, and I think that's one of those markers you're talking about, of how they remembered the outfit they wore when they were leaving, you know, because you're off to meet this American family, and, you know, it's America and, you know, Ireland in the 70s, 80s, even the early 90s, you know, very different. An idea of everyone in America being rich and, you know, having great clothes. I thought that was really sweet. And I thought it was a lovely comment you made in your note where you said, this is the writer's note in the programme, where you said that, you know, memory is really fallible. You know, they always say eyewitnesses are the worst people that you could have to give witness or give evidence. But then at the same time, it's also kind of key as well, because while it mightn't be, strictly speaking, in one sense accurate, it's also emotionally true.
Totally. And I think that's really beautiful of how people remembered things. And like the biggest thing that came out, everybody was like, everything was really big, everything was massive, the food was massive, the cars and stuff, and you're like, but you were tiny. I think people didn't, when they think back now as an adult, but that's why we had two of the kids from Brassneck Youth, because I was like, we need to see the age visually. It's not enough to say they went out at 9, 10, 11 years old. We have to see it. And I pushed for that to happen, because I was like, we need to see the age those kids went out. They didn't go out as teenagers, which even then would have been hard.
Yeah, they were surprisingly young. But then I wondered, maybe that was a key decision. Teenagers might be, you know, more complicated for a family to care for, more responsibility involved. But yeah, they were terribly young, because funny enough, there's a taxi driver who drives one of the wheelchair taxis, Jared McVeigh. He's practically a member of the family at this stage. He's from Turf Lodge, but he went out and stayed with a family who were millionaires, and they had a home on Myrtle Beach and a home in the Virginia mountains. He learned to swim when he was there, but he said he cried when he was leaving. He said, I was only 10. He said, when you think about it, so young, he cried, and then cried when he was coming home, was leaving them. So a fantastic story, and brilliantly well told. So congrats, and I believe maybe you're going to the States.
I mean, you know yourself. It's all fund independent. But I think that there's a lot of support for us. I think the fact that Dennis Mulcahy, the founder of Project Children, came over and saw it, and his team of people around him saw it as well, and really like it, that will help us get support to take it out. Because I'd love to take it out to the families, the host families.
It'd be amazing. It seems like a no-brainer,
hopefully,
as they say. No, I think that would be fantastic. Hopefully. And great for everyone involved. So just to go back to the beginnings, now that we've left the most recent event in your life, what brought you into theatre?
It's a bit of a convoluted story, if you're ready for it.
Are we ready, Kieran?
I'm all ears.
Yeah, we're all ears.
So I always was interested in drama at school, loved it, was doing really well, went on to college to do performing arts, and then I got pregnant at the end of it, and then it was like everything shut down. It was like, okay, your next job now is going to be get on benefits, get a house, blah, blah, blah. So I...
Get child rearing.
Yeah. So, and I was 20 when I got pregnant, 21 when I gave birth. So after I had Jojo then, I was like, she was only like 3 months old. And I was itching to get back into something. And I saw an audition for the Lyric Drama Studio. And I was like, no, I can't go. They'll never take me. I'm, young mother and all of this. And then I just went for it. I remember putting the baby to bed, and then I would do, the monologue was For Free at Psychosis by Sarah Kane. And I would just rehearse it on my own in this bedroom in our house in Stockman's Lane. And then I got into the drama studio, and it was there I met Joe Wigan.
Yes.
So who obviously was a massive influence on my life. So when I met Joe, she was working in Kibosh at the time. She was the creative producer, and she could see that I was so, desperate to get back into theatre. So she got me into volunteer. I volunteered on shows, just kind of chaperoning the audience and stuff. And then she would get me in to do kind of part-time admin and stuff. And then my life went to shit even more. And I moved into a hostel. So I was like, right, this is it. I'll get a job. Got a wee job in a cafe. Everything was dead on. And then Joe contacted me and said, there's a part-time admin job going in Kibosh. And I was like, I'm not qualified. Give it to someone else. It was a part-time admin job. Like, I could have done it with my eyes closed. And actually, I don't think the funders wanted, I think they thought I wasn't qualified
fully
as well.
qualified.
So Joe got our friend who was working in the council at the time to kind of write me a fake reference and stuff, because that was Joe. She was an operator. So they bigged up what I could do. And then I got the job in Kibosh. So I was delighted doing admin and just being involved in something. And then during that, I then left the hostel a bit shell-shocked about that experience. And
yeah, I mean, was that...
It was just mad. It was just a mad experience that nobody got, and I couldn't articulate it in any way. And I thought, people should know about this. Who can I get to write it? And then I was too embarrassed to tell anybody that I wanted to do a play. So I kind of started writing it myself. And remember the first time I wrote something, and I wrote a sentence, and then I shut the computer down, hit a reddener, shut the computer down, and then go back to it for like 4 months. It was all just imposter syndrome, And then there was, I think Carrie Ann was involved. It was like Peter Quigley was trying to set up the Belfast Fringe Festival. Do you remember this?
Yes,
was in like
I do. And he was,
or 10.
Yeah, and himself and Carrie Ann worked together a lot.
Carrie Ann was,
Carrie Ann, our general manager of Ashling Gare, yeah.
And they set it up that year. So I said to Carrie Ann, can I do a play in it? And she said, yes, here's the deadline. So then I knew I needed to write it. And then my friend Ellen sat with me to finish it. I remember 4 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I just want to go to bed. And she was like, no, finish your play. And then I finished it, got my 3 friends who were actors to rehearse for free over 2 weeks in a social club in the Short Strand. And then we put it on, and then it got really good feedback. And I was like, oh, I like
wow, what a story. And what was it called?
Hostel.
yeah.
Does what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's extraordinary. And, I think it's easy from the outside to underestimate how much confidence it takes to write, to put your voice out there, in black and white and then live on the stage. So what an extraordinary achievement, writing Hostel while you're in a hostel. Pretty impressive.
Well, it was after.
It
was after,
no, obviously,
yeah, it was... so it was actually being in the hostel was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it started my career, because it gave me something to write about. And it was also seeing not only that it was well received by people in theatre, but so what happened was other people who worked in housing started seeing it and then going, oh, will you do it at this event? Will you do it for the Simon community? Will you do it at this conference for people that worked in housing? And I started seeing theatre being part of a conversation in something bigger, if that makes sense, than just entertainment.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh, people are using this for something. And also, I wrote it out of spite, because I was so angry about our experience and how we were treated. When I look back now, it was a really good hostel. And when I've visited some others since then, I was like, oh, didn't really realise how lucky we were in that one. But still, it still made... I felt like I lost all control and autonomy over my whole life, and I was like, I don't think you should do it that way. So that was my reason for writing the play as well. I was like, here's how I felt for us.
That's absolutely amazing. And so on the back of that success, life in the arts is never easy, and you have a great success. I remember being over at Edinburgh, and one of the actors in our play won an award. He won like Best Actor, and he was coming down, and everyone was like, hey, I'll be signing on Monday, which is kind of which is sort of the story of our business. People think that, even people look at soaps, and they look at actors in Irish soaps, and they think they're loaded. It's like, they're not. They're paying the bills. But so what came next, or how did you make your next step forward?
At that stage, I was still working in Kibosh, And I think my next thing was I did a short piece for Terra Nova Theatre Company, and then I got a commission from Replay, an actual full writer's commission, and I was like at a contract and all. I was like, oh my God. And I had such a lovely time working on that, and I was just like, this is what I want to do. So I had to leave Kibosh, but I was devastated leaving Kibosh because it was such a brilliant environment to be in, and Paula McFetridge was just really supportive, and she knew it was my time to go as well, you know.
Yeah.
But I still feel like a kibosher anyway. But so that was it. Yeah, I went freelance in 2015, straight into unemployment and fear, and going, I've made a huge mistake.
Wow.
It was really hard.
Brilliant.
And kind of surviving on workshops and stuff, you know, yourself, and facilitation and all of that, which I really enjoy anyway. But
yeah, exactly. I think that's how most artists do it. It's and you know, you're just giving back, you're staying involved, you know.
100%. You know, it pays the bills. And then after that, I was selected for the Reveal programme with Prime Cut Productions, and that was a game changer because it was an artist development programme that was actual proper investment. You know, I'd phone them up and be like, I'm skint, and they'd be like, right, here's your grand in your bank tomorrow. You know,
that is amazing.
It was incredible.
How did they get that past?
To be like, it was.
What's their number? I'll just give them a ring after actually. I might make it.
It was. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the foundation.
Oh, it was one of those.
What's it called?
Paul Hamlin.
Paul Hamlin.
Yes.
Paul Hamlin.
Yes.
So it was a big investment. I think actually what it was they selected Emma to be the artist who was developing, and Emma asked to open it up to other artists, which was incredibly generous. So it was, complete investment to go away and work on what you wanted. So I created a project called Entitled, which was looking at welfare reform coming in. At that stage, it had already hit the UK. It was coming in to Northern Ireland.
They kind of stalled it for a while.
They stalled it for a while, and everybody was like, don't worry, we've put things in place. And I was like, no, this is going to be a shit show and people don't know this is coming. So we created a piece of theatre around that, which I loved because I thought it was very different. It so by any stretch was not a finished piece, but we had a community company in it with 3 professional actors. It was just all with 2 kids in it. I really enjoyed it. It was such a fun piece to work on. And then that's when I did Removed with Terry. Then Prime Cut then commissioned me to do Removed, and then because it went out, I felt like I got more kind of work and respect and stuff from that.
Yeah, and I unfortunately didn't see that. Removed, that's Terry, the young actor.
Terry was, it's Conor O'Donnell.
Right.
Was the final actor. Terry did the Norway version. Yeah. It's been everywhere. We did it. We developed it for ages because it was inspired by young people in the care system. So it was.
Oh, so that's what Removed.
That's what. Yeah.
That's the material it's dealing with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And we worked with VOIPIC, which is Voice of Young People in Care, and all of their young people and people who'd been through the care system, and who are campaigning for changes here. So it's a one-man show. It's like an hour long, and yeah, we developed it. We just kept putting it in front of young people every draft to kind of go, are you happy with this? And then when we performed it, they kind of led discussions and, you know, post-show kind of chats and stuff. So they were amazing. Like, but it was one of those ones that just kept coming back out. We premiered in the Children's Festival in like 2019. And then we went to Norway before that. At a college over there because it was part of a European programme as well. It went to Australia last year. We all went out to Adelaide, which was amazing.
Oh my God.
And we went to Philadelphia as well with it.
Seriously? So she's already just remembering where she's been. Oh no, I was in Philadelphia too.
I did.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's just one of those ones that's kept coming out, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. I was just thinking that you were saying initially that you were, you know, in your flat and learning your monologue. And is acting something that you would ever consider revisiting, or are you just happy in your world as a writer?
I don't think so. I really loved it. I think it's because when you're in school and you're like, theatre's where I should be.
It's
nobody
always
tells
acting.
you there's other jobs.
Yeah.
Nobody says you can be a writer. Do you know? I was like, who does
or
that?
a director,
Or a director. You don't even know what a stage manager is, or lighting designer. So I think that's what it was. But I also see actors do what they do, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. User class.
I know. What is it like? And this is actually a question. Kieran and I were chatting about, questions when we're preparing, doing our prep for the interview, and Kieran was saying, what is it like for you as a writer to see actors in a rehearsal room? Do you? Is it strange to see maybe they're saying the lines differently than you heard them in your head, or do you find that an easy journey?
No, it's sometimes, it depends. I remember when we did Hostel, and I had based it on people who were in it, and so in my head I was like, this is who this character is. And I remember Caroline Kern was one of the actors, and she completely did this other interpretation, and I was like, I don't know what no. And she was like, no, this is what and I went, oh yeah, I have to let her put on. And actually what she was doing was far better than what I had in my head.
Yeah, well, brilliant that you can do that, because I know sometimes I've worked with writers, and I know when my mother, who's an actor, has worked with writers who will literally say, no, it's not no, it's no. Then be like that about it.
Maybe if you ask Tony Devlin, he might have a different. There are times when I'm like, I don't know why you're saying that line like that, and funny, when we did Project Children the second time, because Tony was in it, I had to step in as director, so I was able to make changes on the script that needed it from the previous year. And there were some wee things where I could just say to the actors, this line means this. This was my intention, and they were like, "Oh right, that's what it means." And that's helpful for them to know that. Yeah,
sometimes it's very straightforward. It's just, you've slightly misinterpreted, and then other times it is more subtle and it is more subjective. And I suppose you just have to let them run with it.
It depends. I think with our Project Children cast, especially because it is new writing, you have to be open to conversations. And the cast were brilliant in, going, can we change this, and can we? And it was needed and it was necessary, so I respected it. But in another play that I did, there was a young actor that came in, and he just rewrote the play. He rewrote, and I remember thinking, I was like, that's not what that line is. And you're just kind of giving me the gist, but actually the gist is wrong because you're not understanding what that is. And I was fuming. I get irate about it because I'm like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a, but on one hand, that's what makes theatre so difficult. On the other hand, that's what's brilliant about it. It's completely collaborative. You're not a painter. 100. Hanging it on the wall and and there it is. And with new work, it's extraordinary. If everyone's there and committed, and there's no stupid ego in the room, then you're fine. Yeah. And everyone's going in we're going to make this great direction. And I think, you're saying about the cast in Project Children, I have to say the sense of ensemble and togetherness on that stage was extraordinary. Totally. You could feel the trust, in the audience, that everyone was just carrying everybody else, and it was a lovely atmosphere on that stage. I thought.
Would there be much difference between doing it for the fella compared to the lyric, like putting that play out, or is it just exactly the same? Would you say?
It's funny. I think it's the same process. It's more money in the lyric, but I preferred it in St. Congles. I preferred it in St. Congles because, and I love that about Brassneck, premiering their shows in a community space first before they take it anywhere else. Just this sense of excitement in that space, and none of the fucking stuff that puts people off going into art spaces of there's a bar, it's chilled, move your seat around and get comfortable. I know there's a level of respect as well, but I just felt people were more comfortable in that space. Audiences were more comfortable in that space. And there was just an electricity. And it might have just been because it was the first time we put it out and we were like, is this going to work or just fall? But I know loads of people preferred it in the lyric as well, because it was, you could see all the technical side of stuff was so much stronger.
Yeah, it's a theatre, and I've been in St. Comgall's, and it's a huge kind of cavernous space, which sometimes can make it awkward for actors and sight lines. The lyric is, but I know what you mean. At the same time, I mean, St. Comgall's is just up the road from here, and you are getting a local audience, and it's very, very difficult to get people from this area to go into somewhere like the lyric. Totally. I mean, unbelievably difficult, actually. I don't know. I think that's the big battle, is attracting, people from working class backgrounds into the arts, because just even to attend, never mind to take part. Because years ago, when I started working with Aisling Gare, just to digress for a moment, I was wondering, God, we're not getting any local audience in here. We're getting the Gaelgory, and we're getting middle class, and we're getting people travelling from other, people as Irish coming up from Newry, coming up from other places and all the rest of it. And I actually rang the Glasgow Citizens Theatre, because it's based in and around where the Gorbals once was, no longer. And I thought, that Glasgow Citizens, it's working class area. I'll ring them up, and I just rang up and I said, "Could you put me through to your marketing department?" And I just said, "Look, how do you get a working class audience into your theatre?" And she just went, "We don't." that was the flat answer. Yeah, we don't. So I think that's a mountain we still have to climb. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Well. Listen, congratulations on an amazing story and on extraordinary achievements. Do you know what's up next, or you just...
I am trying to take a step into TV.
Wow,
which is
brilliant.
A whole other ball game. And it also makes me feel really sad, because I'm like, you just can't survive on theatre. It's just not...
You can't. I know. I mean, they are literally decimating the artists, particularly where we live.
Big time.
It's. I mean, a friend of mine is coming here today, and he said, "What's on tonight? What can we go see? What we can go do?" And I went, "Nothing. Not a music event. There isn't a theatre event. I mean, the lyric is opening tomorrow night, but nothing."
Yeah.
And that's so. I think, and TV is taking off. Particularly in Belfast with blue lights and everything else that's been going on.
Absolutely.
So, it's really a voice. So, that sounds like a bold move, but the right move. I mean, it's either that or leave Belfast.
I know.
Yeah, and of course you've got your daughter here. So,
yes.
Is the job done? Is she reared? Is she cooked?
I think so. She's moving out in September, which will be the big test, which I'm nervous about, because she'll just ask questions about stuff and I'll be like, "Oh God, you don't know anything." I taught you. I'm always like, "Did you turn the cooker off? Did you do that?" All that stuff worries me.
Oh, really?
But she's like so much more sus than I ever was. And she's amazing. She's actually playing tonight. She's her university course is music performance. She wants to be a musician.
Oh, that's amazing.
Another one bites the dust.
Wow.
But my friend Katie Richardson she's performing, and she got her in her band performing as part of all the Little Amal Belfast 2024 stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going down to see her tonight for her first professional music gig.
Well, where is that going to be?
St Anne's Cathedral.
St Anne's Cathedral?
At 8 o'clock.
Okay, well I have a friend coming up from Belfast,
from
Dublin, who wants to go outside.
Oh, the Little Amal stuff's really beautiful. We were down yesterday, the big puppet. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
It's gorgeous.
Just like pictures on Facebook, but so St Anne's Cathedral tonight at 8 o'clock. It's a date. Yeah, exactly. Well, look, it's been absolutely brilliant. Now you have to do our little secret.
Oh God, I'm afraid of this.
No, it's exact opposite that. It's a bit crash. Okay. Apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Oh, controversial.
Is it controversial? Apples are stinking.
But actually,
red apples are right. I don't like green apples. Red apples are nice. I like a sweet apple.
Well, I think apples kind of give me indigestion. There's too much chewing. Yes. Okay. Oranges. Well done. Okay. The outfit you wore that you'll never forget and that you love the best.
Outfit I wore.
You know what mine is?
Yeah, tell me.
It's tragic. Mine is my communion dress. I loved the whole outfit. And then I was having my dinner and I dropped a pea on it. Like just a single pea and it left it. Yeah, never going to forget that. Never going to forget that.
I hated my community dress. I'm not a dress person. Never liked dresses. I'm always in trousers. I think, I mean, I dressed up as Beyonce.
Ooh.
I did not. I was just wearing in the single ladies outfit for my friend's hen in Amsterdam.
That sounds stunning.
It wasn't. I looked ridiculous and people thought I was Cheryl Cole because she was out at the time with a kind of jacket that was similar.
Oh, right, okay.
And yeah, it's just that thing when you look back and you go, God, I used to look class.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
She still
I could have pulled
does. That off. What movie always makes you cry?
Maybe always makes me cry. Oh. Stand By Me, maybe.
Yeah. Wow.
I just love that film.
Yeah.
I just love how the story's told. I love how he looks back. I just think it's gorgeous.
It's brilliant. Stephen King. You can't beat him.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful film.
Yeah. No, I love it too.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Yeah. I watched On Golden Pond last night, so that's what I would have said. You know, with Jane Fonda and Henry Fonda and Catherine Hepburn. It's an early 80s movie. But yeah, it's about a father and daughter relationship.
I watched one recently, the Champ, it's called.
Oh my God.
That one's terrible. So
oh, Kieran, that's just a tear fest.
Like after I can't remember when I came. My daddy told me to watch it. He was born in 1970, but it's in black and white. And I think it is anyway.
No, it's not.
Isn't that? Maybe,
no, it's just really old.
It's really old.
It's just muted.
But it's like his daddy's a boxer and he has this fight, but after he ends up, I'll just say it, he ends up dying, but his son is there talking to him and he's it's terrible.
Yeah. It was John Voight, I think, is the boxer, and I went to see that. My mother brought me and 5 of my little friends to see that when I was 10, and we went to see The Champ. My mother, she nearly had to apologise to all the parents. We were all absolutely broken by the end of it. Yeah, The Champ. That's a famous tear fest movie. Okay, best sandwich in the world.
Sandwich in the world. A Belfast bap with butter and mayonnaise. With ham, cheese, lettuce, tomato, bit of Bronson pickle.
Oh, that sounds great. Classy. Yeah, I'm going to go
I might
classy.
even stick potato cheese and onion in there.
No. If you had to listen to only one song, you had just one song for the rest of your life.
Only because you're forcing me, I have to say Champagne Supernova Oasis.
Okay, great. Go classic. Yeah, no, absolutely. Love it. What is the scariest animal?
The scariest animal? Afraid of? I don't know. A rhino?
Yeah. Well, luckily, I'm kind of classic. I'm just like spiders, snakes, anything that crawls. Whereas with a rhino, your chances pretty good.
I'm okay with spiders.
Are you really?
I mean, I don't want them on me. Or in the same room.
That's reasonable.
But I'm dead on about them.
Wow. I know, my sister lived in Africa for a year. I honestly don't think I could do it because of the whole spider situation. Like, they were everywhere.
Have you seen that wall of spiders in Bali?
No.
It's just like a big wall of webs and thousands of spiders.
Okay, I'll be Googling that.
I'm worried about spiders if they're small. Like, if one gets bigger in my hand, I'm going, okay, that's like having a dog.
Okay.
With 8 legs, that's terrible. But as long as it's small, I'm alright with spiders. Like,
yeah,
massive ones, no way. Like in Australia, they've got them huntsman spiders. Something you're going, why would something need to be happy?
There's an Uber driver in Belfast who picked us up a couple of weeks ago, and he has a spider in his hand. So we were calling him Spider-Man because we were all blocked. And he was like, no, I'm really into spiders. And he has loads of different species of spiders in his house. He was fascinating.
Wow.
And he was telling us all about it. And he was like, he feeds them live insects. And he was like, his whole house, it was like just spider pets.
Yeah.
That's horrifying to me.
But how, isn't it really
I would feel
interesting
uncomfortable
though?
even living next door to him. No. I just think that's creepazoid. Like I'm
it is a bit.
But freaked out. I'm picturing his house now.
Just all spiders everywhere.
I know, yeah.
Surely they're in cages. Or not cages, but...
Kind of feeling
I feel like he'd
tanks.
let them roam free.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like letting a dog sleep in the baby, he's letting 80 spiders sleep in the baby and he's going,
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. So, more philosophical question: what happens when you die?
I really do believe in an afterlife, so I'm like, you're reunited with your family and everything's great.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Totally.
You really do. That's
100%. I'm like, I've lost 2 of my friends in the past 4 years, but I'm always like, well, that's for now. I'll see you again when I die. They'll come and get me. That's how I feel. Which I'm really glad about, because when people are like, no, you're just dead, you're worm food, you're in a box. I'm like, oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of vary. I'm a bit agnostic, but sometimes I think, when we did physics in school and, you learn, matter cannot be created or destroyed, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So I sort of think of it that way, which is like being a little bit scientific and a little bit faith at the same time.
Yeah.
Mixture of the two, just to feel good. And the rest of your life in just 5 words.
Do they count? Hopefully happy, content, and working.
Sounds brilliant
That sounds
to me.
really selfish, doesn't it?
No.
And that my family and my friends are okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're all those things, they'll be happy and you'll be happy and everyone's
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I love it, and I think that I'm going to adopt those as my 5 words. Listen, thanks a million for coming in and making the time and telling an extraordinary story to all of us, and best of luck, and I hope Project Children gets to the States.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you.